welcome back to my channel. Today's video is all about HYROX doubles. Whether you're doing same gender or mixed doubles, I'm sure you'll take away some vital tips and tricks. And if I've missed anything, feel free to comment down below because I'd love to hear what your other tips and tricks are. I'm also going to put in some race footage of the race that we did as well, so you can kind of get a visual as to what we did. Because I did want to do a race day vlog for doubles, but I was like, you know what? This is going to be so much more useful to people, so let's do this instead. We did HYROX Melbourne number 2, which was in December, so basically 4 weeks ago. And I had done the pro women's the night before, and my HYROX partner Matt had done the men's open as well. And we both basically competed around similar times. So we had similar recovery time in between races. Going into the doubles, mentally, I was really upset about how I went in my solo race. But one of the really cool things about doubles is that you're doing it with someone else, and you kind of have to change your mindset, whether it's deliberately or it just kind of happens naturally, in that you are racing with someone else and their goals are just as important as your goals, if not more important, because you've got that pressure to perform with your partner. Having that really helped me get through the rest of the weekend. So I'm really grateful for doing the doubles race, and it also helped me level up mentally for the next time when I do my solo races, because obviously you are doing the race at a much faster pace compared to your solo race. And the fact that I'm doing the same weights as the pro women, like, it was just the perfect simulation to really get a feel as to how fast I want to be in the future by myself. And our goals for the weekend for doubles was to get an hour, around that 60-minute mark. But unfortunately, because I was taking caffeine gels in my race the night before, I did not get a single minute of sleep. And that has never happened to me ever, except for when I did Melbourne earlier in the year. But I didn't have to race the next day, so it didn't matter. But not having slept at all, really felt that. But again, when you've got someone with you to race, you kind of have to show up, and that's what really helped. So we revised what our goals were in the morning, and we just went, you know, honestly, if we can get under an hour 10, we're killing it with basically having half a partner. So that was our goal, to get under an hour 10. Did we get that goal? Stay tuned. So number 1 tip, you are only as fast as your slowest runner. And in our case, I was the slower runner. Matt can run for days. He can run like 4-minute pace without any issues. But for me, even on a good day, holding around that 4:20 to 4:30 would have really been pushing it. So we readjusted on the day to hold around 4:45 to 4:50 pace. As long as we were going under those 5-minute Ks, then I could really push and help out on the station. So just remember that. Make sure that you're only going as fast as your slower runner, and try to be realistic with the pace, because as soon as your slower runner burns out, it is going to be a really hard struggle for the rest of the race. So start a little bit conservative, and then if you're feeling really good, then you can start to increase the pace on each run. Generally, with your stations as well, you want your strongest runner to start it and your slower runner to do the middle bit of the work, and then your fastest runner to finish the station, because that will allow your slower runner to have a bit of rest as you get into the station, so that they can really do a good job when they do need to work, and then they can rest before you get into the run, because recovery is the most important thing for your slower runner. So make sure you look after them. That's the kind of approach you want to have for pretty much every single station. Unless your slower runner happens to be really good at a certain station and they can do it compromised, try to stick to that faster, slower, faster format. So we go to the first station, ski erg. So Matt started and he did like 400 meters at his very fast pace, and then I just subbed in for 300 meters, and I made sure that, you know, I pushed enough but not too hard to the point where I needed to recover too much or for too long. And then Matt finished off the rest of the distance, and then we ran. The next station was the sled push. Matt did a full lap, absolutely sprinted it. Then I did a lap, and then he did a lap, and then for the final lap, I did half of it and then he did the final half, which allowed me to rest before our next run. The sled pull, we did a very similar format as well. Matt started the pull, I did a lap, he did a lap, and then I did half, and then he finished half as well. And then burpees, this was a station that Matt was really good at, so I just allowed him to go as far as he wanted, obviously not to the point of extreme exhaustion, but to a point where, you know, he needed to tap out. And then I did about 4 to 6 reps, and I really tried to jump. These were probably the best burpees I've ever done in any HYROX. And now I know that when I do my solo, I need to push the distance, because I find when I do my solo races, I end up just doing so many reps. Like, I'm very consistent, I don't stop, but I'm just wasting my time doing so many reps with these short jumps when I should just really explode out of each jump, because then that means less reps. Yes, it might be a little bit more taxing on the legs, but I'd honestly rather get through the burpees a bit faster and then start running to recover than spending ages on the burpees, because it's a bit, I'm not really demoralizing, but I just really hate that station. So that's what we did. I just subbed in when I needed to, and I did the amount of reps that weren't gonna push me over the edge. And I was just there to help Matt rest, because he was really the one pushing us along on the burpees. Then we went for the row. Same format as the ski. Matt started, I did the middle, and then Matt finished. With the transitions, you want to be fast, especially if you're transitioning 3 times like we did, because it's obviously not as easy as a ski. Like, you have to sit down, maybe you want to strap your feet in, but we didn't strap our feet in, we just kept it fairly loose, which made it easier to transition out and back into the rower. And then just before I got off the rower, I would change the damper to where Matt wanted it, so that we could reduce time there as well. So that's something to take into consideration. Some people like to split this up 50-50, especially with the transition time. But if one person's just going to end up being so slow towards the end of their effort, then you may as well let the stronger rower jump onto the erg. Otherwise, you'll just end up wasting seconds there. So it's up to you if you want to transition 3 times, or maybe more or less. We had farmer's carry, and we had one of the fastest times of the day, which is crazy, especially because we had James Newbury and Tia Toomey racing. Matt sprinted, he absolutely gunned it, and I had to catch up to him, which probably wasn't the best thing. I mean, in terms of like race rules, you need to stay with your partner. So I made sure I stayed with him towards that back half, and then he went as far as he could, and then he dropped the kettlebells, and then I picked them up and I did a big effort, and then he finished them off. And then after farmer's carry, we had lunges. I was the stronger lunger, and especially because I take longer strides, I tried to lunge as much as I could. With our lunges for this race, there was only 2 laps, so you had to go up and down. So Matt started it and he got about halfway, and then I finished the back half of that first lap, and then I started the second lap and I got to about halfway, and then we switched. So he did that last little bit of lunges, and that allowed me to recover a bit, because cramping was not fun. So I recommend having more gels with you than you think you need, because I had a gel before the race, then I had one at the ski erg, and then I didn't have one just before the lunges when I really needed it. So I wish I brought another gel. It's a really good point, I guess, whether it doesn't matter which partner you are, but when you're resting, take in your gels, your nutrition, so that you're not wasting time in the rock zone, you know, like stopping and needing to pull a gel out. Just do it while you're resting, while your partner's working, so then you can transition faster through the rock zone. One of the critiques is that every time we swapped our sandbag, we'd have to end up cleaning it. So like, I always clean the sandbag and I put it like back up, and cleaning the sandbag just wasted time. Instead, we should have faced back to back to pass it, and that would have saved, you know, a couple of seconds here and there, but it all adds up as you go along. So try to pass it back to back so it's already on your partner's shoulders and they can just start lunging straight away. And then after the lunges is the final station, which was wall balls, and we just went for it. We didn't really have a rep strategy. Matt obviously started, and then I did a big chunk, he did a chunk, I did a chunk, and then he finished it, and then we sprinted to the end. With the wall balls, or pretty much any station, if one of us started to feel like we were tipping on that edge of exhaustion, or we just needed to take a rest, we would communicate and say, like, I've only got, you know, a couple of reps. I'd say I've only got 2 reps left, and then I'm passing it to you. Communication is key with doubles. You don't want to let one partner suffer completely compared to the other. Like, yes, it is a hard race, but you don't want to have one partner suffering in silence and then they blow up, and then what's the point? Because you need your partner the whole time if you want to get through and finish. So communicate, okay? And don't have fights. I saw a lot of people having fights with their partners. I don't know what the go was there, but don't have a fight with the person you're racing with. There's no point. Like, even if you're getting paid to race, there's just no point being rude to each other and saying nasty things and stuff like that. So encourage each other, like a fist pump, a high five, having some sort of mantra before you get into the race that you can repeat to each other. So that really helps you grind through is the best. Even just a tap on the shoulder goes such a long way. So have a think about a mantra or something that's gonna help you push through the race. Some words of affirmations, encouragement. With us, we've both done a hurricane heat in Spartan, and so Matt just kept repeating the hurricane heat ethos. So that was pretty cool, and that helped me keep crushing it, especially in the wall balls. We also want to be able to train with each other. We live in different states, so we didn't get to train with each other, but we knew what each other's fitness levels were and how to approach the race mostly. So that was good, but it would have been good to have trained with each other a couple of times, because you also want to practice your communication skills and just get a feel for what it's like being out on course, even if you're not doing a full simulation, just a workout. Also, you just want to be really honest with each other about strengths and weaknesses and who the faster, slower runner is, what your running pace is going to be. Because again, if you if you are a little bit too ambitious with the running pace at the start, you will burn out, and then you'll end up going so much slower than if you had just started a bit more conservative and built yourself up into the race. So just be honest with each other. There's no egos in doubles. Lastly, I mean, you don't have to wear matching outfits, but try to have something on you that is easily recognizable or distinguishable. We were both in pink and black, so I could easily spot him, he could spot me, and plus I'm tall, so it's really hard to lose me. But during the runs, like, you can lose each other. So just make sure you're running with your partner and they are in your line of sight. You can get penalized if you're not running with each other. So run with each other, because that would suck to get some time added, especially when you haven't run that extra time. Those are my tips and tricks for HYROX doubles, whether you're doing mixed or same gender. I hope you have picked up some tips and tricks. If you have any more questions, or if you have any tips and tricks that I missed, then feel free to comment down below. My alarm's going off, so I gotta go. See ya.